Hi
Hey.
everyone, we're back with Miss First Lady Erica on Codebreaker Real Talk. Thank you for being on, Miss First Lady Erica. How are you today?
You. I appreciate it. I was really looking forward to our talk today, especially with dealing with veterans, because I really did have some really important, valuable tips, I think, for um, people who are currently in the military and people who are getting out, or people that are working on their claims. I'm gonna
Yeah,
go ahead and change my background to
okay.
something
I
more.
had told you that, well, I did a short little tiny little live video because what had happened is I had filed 1 year ago, July the 28th, 2022, and I had not heard from the VA. I was beginning to worry, like, do I even exist? And I finally called the 800 number. And I found out that the claim was never filed, even though I had the claim stamped and everything, the paperwork. I even filed the whole, I did it's called an attempt to file and then the claim. So I did both of them. And I had given my records. Thank goodness that I had copies. I like your background, by the way. And then they had my birthday as January of 1900. They didn't know if I was male or female because my first name is Jesus. And it's still Jesus in the courts, even though I took it off when I got divorced. So then I let you know, and you're like, oh, you better not give him no report. You better not give him, what did you say?
The
Something about
originals.
Mhm.
The originals.
Yeah, don't give him the originals. So then the other day, so last week, I went and I filed. This time I made sure that I filed the attempt to file, and then I gave him the other copies that I had. And I finally got a letter saying that they received the attempt to file, but they're still waiting on the paperwork, which is probably gonna take another 4 or 5 days. And that day that I went, it's called the pack something. That was the last day to put in an attempt to file for Agent Orange and anthrax, and also lower lumbar spine, which I already had that. I've had 5 vertebrae replaced with titanium, and then I had the neck done. I didn't have the copies for the neck done for the back, but I will. They also approved the ear ringing, which I have the ear ringing. They call it tinnitus. I told them about my feet. I've had 7 surgeries on my feet, shoulder surgeries. I grow extra bone. Why is that? This thing has to get taken out again. I've had this ball grow again. It was taken out a few years ago. There's many things, other things that I'm not gonna, spend time saying right now, but it's a lot, man. So now I have to wait 1 to 2 years. How did you get your 60%? Because I want to get my 100% rating. I guess they have ratings, so that way my son and I can go back to school for free.
I think it's so interesting that you had come to me at this time because
Oops, sorry, wrong button. I was trying to mute
because
myself.
because honestly, I'm at my 100%. I think it's interesting because it's 2023 and I joined in 2003. So go mission accomplished, 20-year arc. And then I joined in March of 2003. And this happened about April 2023. So I thought it was pretty interesting. So at this point, I got my Big Daddy license plate yeah, girl. So how much is your license plate? Like $5 a year. My driver's license or my license tag every year is maybe $5, $10 for 2 years.
Because I wanted to get my license plate to say woman veteran, the one that had the woman with the
Yeah.
but they said it's 25 a year.
Right, because you're getting that some special plate, right? I just got the red, white, and blue plate. But I
Oh,
cried in the DMV because I said, this is something that your uncle gets or your granddad or something. And I was like, I was just so proud of myself. And the lady, we were just like, really excited. And I was like, I made it. And so for several reasons, like all your state park benefits, all this stuff like that
oh
you
yeah, I get
get,
my state park benefits already. Yeah, that you get in free.
discount.
Yeah.
And then your driver's license, I don't know how much your driver's license is, but you get the stamp on your driver's license. So
I got my
now,
yeah, it says veteran. Yeah, I got that.
yeah, so now on Veterans Day, I can go to the restaurant without having to show anything extra. So and then I think we can still go back to the I think they had already done this, but now we can go back to the PX and stuff,
Yeah, we can.
things like that. So the
I wonder how
journey.
much the gym would be over there. Cause I'm only like from here. I think I'm like 20 minutes away, but I'm closer to a new gym that I joined anyway. But I wonder, cause I was at the PX. I was at the base. It's called Davis Mountain Air Force Base, and I used to play racquetball and do my weights when I was in the army. And then I went back years later, and they redid the PX. Everything was new. Some things are cheap there, some things are not. Um, but I used to play racquetball there, but now they have a new gym. So I wonder what kind of, I like these perks that we get. It's just
Yeah.
why all the pain, all the suffering, all the bullshit that I even got. It's called lipomas, but they keep growing all over my body, and I have a feeling it has to do with anthrax. But I know that Agent Orange too is big time.
Right. And it's interesting that you brought that up. So the first thing that I want to go back to is the number one thing was your timestamp for filing the claim. Now I know when I got out in 2003, we had the timestamp on certain things. It was like right when you're getting out, you wrote down everything that you thought was wrong with you because they were gonna do an exit exam. They were gonna test your hearing and your sight and anything that you complained about, and they were gonna start that exam when you exit. My biggest problem when I exit was when I exited, I was already pregnant. So a lot of things too. Another problem was when you're in, they don't necessarily give you a proper diagnosis of things. They will say things like hip snapping. Well, hip snapping is not hip snapping is a symptom, but what is the name of the disease or disorder, right? They didn't give you the name. So this is another thing that stretches out your claim. Now, with you being a person who was already out, the timestamp on your claim, this is the issue. The timestamp on your claim is important because that's where they're going to do the back pay starts at that point. So for me, for certain things, it would have started when I left because that would have been my timestamp. But you being a person that is out and you filing a new claim, this is going to be important. And this is why you need a copy of it, because you need to know when does the back pay start? Because if this is a 10-year process, it's going to come back to today. So that's an important thing. Another important thing is when you're getting out, or even if you're out, if you have a copy of your medical records, they say make sure you have 3. One for you to keep that you never give to anybody, one that you give to your local VA, and I think one of them goes to the records. But anything that you take out of your folders and out of your papers, you always make 3 copies of it, and you always keep one. So you never give them your last copy of anything. The next thing that I would say is when you're filing your claim, throw everything on the wall and see what sticks. So what I did was at one point when I filed my claim, I went through every exam and everything, and she said, "Oh, your feet had this, you did it," and you write that on your claim. I don't care if it's 100 different items, because you really don't know what arbitrary thing is the one that's going to be the easiest to diagnose, and you don't know which one necessarily is an actual diagnosis versus a symptom. So you're going to write them all out. If it says you had flat feet, if you said something about your ears, something about your foot, if it said stenosis or these things, radiculopathy, like certain, even if it seems to be duplicating, especially when it comes to your back, these little things might seem like it's a duplicate, but you need to list each one of them as a separate claim. And then what happens is during this claim process, you're going to see that they have to rule it out. So you threw it on the wall. Now they have to pull it off and say, nope, this one. So they have to disprove what you're saying versus you having to prove what you're saying. So this is important. Now, the biggest problem that I had is, what is 0%?
Yeah.
You might get a rating of 0%. That means that you actually won your claim. That means that they gave you a rating. And I did not know this. So when I got out in 2006, 2007, they gave me a lot of 0%. Now I needed to do what? Go to the doctor and get proof to increase it. Instead, I thought I was denied. And so I didn't know that until about 2013 when I started working at the VA, and my patients were like, hey, no, go back. Even if you don't want to take all the medicines, because they'll give you a fucking death cocktail. They'll give you a death cocktail, but that doesn't mean you have to take it. But what you do need to do is get prescribed, because you now admit you have a problem. Even if you find your own ways, like acupuncture and chiropractic and holistic medicines, even if you're not going to take their medicines, you need to get your stuff prescribed, and you need to get it keep getting it refilled, because if you don't, then you're saying that you don't need it. So I actually worked with a young lady who got herself up to 30%. And what happened? Because she kept being so strong at work and never took off a day, and she was missing her doctor's appointment, they took her from 30% back down to what? 0. So this is your job now. Your job is to get the benefits that you want. So you're going to have to go to your appointments, and you're going to have to go online and get your prescriptions. So the 0% threw me off. So I actually couldn't go back and get back pay, because from 2006 2006 on to 2013, you didn't get the claim raise. I told you had a rating, it was 0. And it was my job in between that time to get an increase. So that set me up to fail. Those are years that I didn't get paid for all the problems that I was having. And the problem was that, and then here's another thing that happened. When I got out, I had about 60 days of pay. What do you call it when you're at the end of your service, but you still,
retro? The retro?
Retro. I lost the 60 days pay because they actually used it to take back my bonus. So while I had 60 days of paychecks left, they used it to pay back my bonus, because instead of staying a whole 5 years, I stayed 4, and they took back my paycheck for that time. So that was another problem that I faced. Terminal leave. That's what I took, terminal leave. So it's at the end, I'm about to get out, so I'm terminating, and I had still 60 days of leave. So all that money just disappeared. I was sitting there waiting for these checks. And not only that, I was pregnant. So because I'm still a part of the military, and I'm pregnant 7 months, and I arrived in Orlando, went to the Orlando VA, they didn't know anything about my rights. They were supposed to get me a doctor, and I was supposed to be doing community care. Instead, they said, we can't help you. So now that you took my 60 days of pay, and I have no money, I'm now on welfare. And so I ended up having to be in the welfare system to go give birth to my child. I'm going to the free public clinic. And that's kind of what happened to me. But this is another thing, that if you're pregnant and you're leaving the military, that you need to know that, guess what? They do owe you care. And if they don't know it, you go to another office, another branch, another something until you find a person who knows what you're talking about. But what happened was I was at a place where people did not know what they were talking about. Okay. So going back to the issue of your diagnosis. Now, when you're on Helpful Guide that helped me nail a lot of things down was this book. Oh my goodness. So let's do no, or should I do this? Oh, okay, I can do this. Oh goodness. How do I do this? I gotta get it back on here. And I'll put it on here. No, I don't know how I'm gonna do it. How to make sure you can see it. What is that?
What is it called?
The muscular skeletal injuries of women in the military. I'm going to stop this background because this is a very important book and I've given it to people. The reason this is important is muscular skeletal injuries of women in the military. And you can see up top is from the Borden Institute, but you can Google this. And I'll give it to Veronica so she can put it in link. This is an extremely, there it goes. You can see really good now. Extremely important booklet. Because you don't know the names of all the diagnoses, but you can go in there now and it lists one of the biggest things. This is a study from the 80s, and it's telling you that 70% of women, by the time they leave basic training, are going to be injured. 70% of women, when they leave basic training, are going to be injured. This isn't when they leave the Army. This is just from your training. And they know that because when we went in, that's back when they did sit-ups and push-ups and made you run 2 miles. And so when we went in too, I don't know about you, but sometimes we ran the 2 miles in boots, right? And we ran way more than 2 miles. 2 miles was just the PT test. I remember we did a hike and it was 8 miles in one day. And then it was raining that day. So we had to run another however many miles to a rain shelter, and we slept outside on the gravel. And then the next day we had to run back to the place where we were going to do our training, and we dug a 6-foot hole and we slept in it and threw gas on each other. So this is what we do for fun. Okay. So things that we do, like this PT test is not the thing that's not necessarily the only thing that's injuring us. When I was in personally, I had to fight in pugil sticks, and this is a male-female military. So when they picked the person who's going to fight me, they picked a size and a height, and I was fighting against a 19-year-old boy. I was a 29, 28, 29-year-old female. When he hit me, he knocked me in my neck flew back, and I actually fell out. I was out cold on the ground. So this is partly the cause of my neck injury, is because I had whiplash and actually literally fell to the ground.
Were you able to fight him again?
No, I mean, and so the thing is, this is another thing where we can get into the anatomy of males and females. Okay, so when we first get in, they already tell us this is where a lot of hip injuries are going to come in, because it takes 1.5 steps for a female for every 1 step of the male. So 1.5 to 2 steps. And then if you were a woman that was under 5 foot tall, then you're really in trouble, because these guys, I mean, if there's a 6'4" guy in the front, everyone has to basically try to keep up with the 6-foot guy in the front, right? And you're swinging. So they know that the woman's hip swings what? It's a rotation. Why? Because we have childbearing hips that rotate out for pregnancy. When men, it's flat and it goes swing, swing, swing. It just swings straight. They don't have this pivoting hip. So whatever kind of nonsense people are trying to say with sports, the military has already taught us when we first got in that yes, men and women are different athletically and physically. Okay. Not only hormonally, but even in the brain. When they study the female brain has more gray matter. Our amygdala is bigger, and that's why we have more fear and protection and caution.
We could see
Right.
better.
And that's also what triggers more women being spiritual and psychic as well. So all these things are factors of these injuries, but a man can still use this book because what it does is names all the parts of the bodies and the kinds of injuries that it can have. So you can use this book, and this is 108 pages to show you, to teach you about the injuries, and you can self-diagnose yourself. And once you self-diagnose yourself and you say, doctor, I have this, and don't listen to your doctor, because I had a doctor, she said, I was talking to her about my neck, and she said, oh, I know how you feel, because when I turn my neck, it does this. And I was like, I don't care about your neck. If you're not putting in a claim, that's your business. I'm putting in a claim for my neck. So don't let people justify it and try to say, oh, it's just normal with age. You're going to age faster because of military service, because you're doing the kinds of exercises that other people don't do. It's not normal what they do. Now, they have improved the exercises since then, but at this point, people who were serving, before 2010, I don't know when they changed these exercises, but let's just say before 2010, these are the injuries that you're going to be checking out. So these are musculoskeletal injuries of women, but of course, I mean, I remember our last PT test, one boy, and I say boy because he was 18, he was a young man, and he tried his hardest to improve during the course of the 9 weeks. And on the day of the PT test, he finally passed his 2-minute mile, or how many ever minute miles, his 2 mile, and he finally got the right time. But on that day, he went to the hospital, he had a broken foot. So he'd been running on a broken foot. This is very much possible. And so when you're in there, also too, another thing that happens, they call you a sick call ranger, right? So if you express any of your pain, sickness, or illness, you're going to be bullied into not going to the doctor, because they're going to call you a sick call ranger when you in fact might be sick. And like this young man who probably ignored his warning signs, and he was running on a broken foot, and instead of graduating when he did, he ended up being recycled. Okay.
Yep.
Recycle is the thing. Now, upon entry, when you go into the military, you think you're just going in, but you're really not. You're going to this thing called reception, and you can end up staying in there for 3 days, or you could end up staying there for 6 months. I've seen women that were staying in there for months. They hadn't even started their service yet. Have you seen that? You saw that, right? There were women who thought that they were going to try to commit suicide. And on the day when I went, these girls, they were really adamant about Bush declaring war, because when I went, it was after 9/11, and I specifically went because of that. And I was like really gung-ho at the time. Like, I had several reasons. Like, one, I wanted medical benefits. I wanted to change my life. I wanted an education. I wanted to do something. But then I also didn't feel like, why should we stay home in fear of being blown up? We need to do something. Oh my God, so I went in. While I was there, I saw girls throwing themselves down the steps, cutting their own wrists in the bathroom. One girl, she got to where we were going to make our final oath. She stepped out of the line and said, I don't have anyone to take care of my kids. So she had lied and said that she had signed her kids over, but she didn't sign over, because one thing about women, when we go in, we have to sign over custody of our children, where men do not.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
And they get a different kind of dependent pay than we do. And I hope that's something that they've changed, but we would get like 1/3 of the dependent pay. So if you had a kid, where a man, he would get dependent pay, and it would be enough to take care of a family. With the woman, it'd be like enough to pay for daycare, maybe. So, and then we would lose custody of our kids as we signed them over when we were in. Luckily, I was single mom, but I met a lot of women that were extremely sad about signing over custody of the kids and being apart, but they were trying to like do something amazing for their family. Let's see.
I went in because of the Gulf. I went in the Gulf War in 1991.
Wow.
Because of that. And
Because of that.
shit.
Interesting.
But
Yeah, I went in then and they declared war and these girls just threw themselves down the steps and I said, I'll be out of here a lot faster than you. I saw we used to have to serve some of the girls that were downstairs in the medical beds. They were in there because they broke their legs or their arms somehow. But they thought that if they hurt themselves, they would get out. But really, you don't. You just sit here for 6 months and do nothing when I know I was off doing my job. Another thing that they did to me too, I chose a job, medical lab technician, and they said it was 26 weeks. That was in fact not true. And I had just got married at the time and did not know that it was actually 52 weeks. It was 26 weeks for the Ahmed Academy for the medical training. And then there was 26 weeks of OJT. So, they weren't very informative of
yeah, they
where
had,
you're going. And
yeah,
yeah, and then after you do that AIT, they tell you to choose your duty station. They tell you to choose 3, or you're
yeah,
not going to get any of those.
you're gonna
Okay,
get
you're not going to get those. You're going to get the complete opposite of
it,
those.
and they're not gonna send you home either. Not to your
And
home.
you don't go home. Yeah, you don't go home before you leave. I actually did because of somehow I was able to go home because I was stationed in Georgia and I lived in South Carolina. I don't even remember what happened. I took some little liaison in between. I guess I just probably had time because I think I was just done with everything and I was in a hospital situation. So I used to go home a lot anyway because I was in Georgia and my family is in South Carolina. So I was just hitting the road like a little crazy person. Because I mean, I was there for 26 weeks, so I could go home a lot. But for some people, yeah, they're not. And then some people get sent to places like Vietnam where they can't take their family and they have kids and they have a husband. And it's just really interesting.
Or
But
Afghanistan.
definitely with these injuries, you can go through here and list it. And not only listing your injuries, list the medications, list your side effects. And if you don't know the side effects, because a lot of times, are you sitting here thinking about every time you had a headache, every time that you had a spasm, every time that you couldn't think or concentrate or focus? Look at the injury and see what it caused and write that down. I'm going to tell you another thing that just helps is FMLA. So
Yeah,
family medical leave. You can
yeah.
do the same thing. Go through whatever your illnesses and injuries are, whatever medicines that you have a prescription for, and write down the symptoms. Don't wait for your doctor to fill out your FMLA form. Fill it out yourself and let them sign it because doctors were like, not trying to sit here and fill this form out for you. They're not trying to do a case study for you. You have to do this for yourself. I did this for FMLA. I wrote all the things out myself and got my doctor to sign it. And I did the same thing for my first handicap pass for my car. And I wrote it all out for the DMV. And then my doctor just was like, oh, thank you. Yeah, you're right. And so don't rely on your doctor to
I
get you to the right place. That's the thing.
I still have to. Did you get the handicap plate from the doctor, or did you get the
The
better?
first handicap placard, I think I got, I don't know how long I've had it, but yeah. Yeah, I was still working at the hospital when I got my handicap placard.
Thinking of getting one
That
because
hang in the window. Yeah, you just print that off of the DMV website and
yeah,
then write down your illnesses that you're claiming and then get your doctor to sign it and then you take it to the DMV and they give you a pass.
I think I'm gonna do that. I finally got my son moved in with me, and I finally was able to take the information because I have to be on Section 8 right now. That's why I want to get my benefits because I don't want to be under government stuff no more. Even though when you get your benefits, it's still the government. But
Yeah, but it's what you earned as property of the military that was able to be abused at their will. You're abused at their will, and this is your right. So it's a lot of people I've seen who was like talking trash about it. I worked with a guy with no teeth. He had all kinds of problems, and he was just looking at me as if I was some type of scum because I was applying for my medical benefits. You earned that as property.
yeah,
Someone beat you up, threw you down the steps. I've been stepped on an obstacle course. I've been beaten up with pugil sticks. One time my gun was not in the ready. It wasn't in the low ready. My gun muzzle was aimed forward and my captain leaped on top of me, tackled me, and knocked me to the ground. This little midget with a Napoleon complex. And he tackled me. There's some things that we do that the body isn't really meant to. The sit-ups that we do, slamming your back on the ground to try to see how many sit-ups you can do in 2 minutes is not healthy. It's not what you're not supposed to exercise in that manner, in that fashion. That's not how you exercise. That's not how you gain fitness. The exercises that they had aren't exercises that build muscle. That's why they eventually had to change it, but it took them so long.
Even at the police academy, my goodness, the red man drills, we had 3 red man drills, and I didn't want to say that I was, the first time that I got, oh shit, they had this guy that was 6'5". He was a cop. I don't remember his name, but I was a rookie at the police academy. And when he hit me, because you have to hit them and then arrest them and all that. Well, he hit me in my temple right here, and I went down, and then I saw black, and then I saw yellow stars, and somebody had said, yellow stars around your head is kind of like Saturn, like was I taken to Saturn? What the fuck?
Yes, I think we talked about that. Yeah,
you were the one that was saying that. And then I heard them chant my last name, and I got the fuck up, and I got that guy good, and I got him arrested and everything in the red man drill. I got him, handcuffed. And then this is crazy because there was a lady there that was married to a cop. I'm not gonna say what department, but on purpose they put her with the Asian young guy. He ended up giving her a concussion. She didn't graduate. She ended up getting something that was she couldn't focus anymore. She was already a citizen cop. She wanted to be a real cop, and she ended up, something was wrong in her brain after that, and they did it on purpose because the ex-husband, which was still a cop, didn't want her to graduate. Isn't that sad? But anyway, wow. We had to do 3 red man drills, and then the last one they paired me up with the sergeant, and well, he started bleeding from his nose. They blew the whistle because he started bleeding. So anytime somebody bleeds, they have to blow the whistle. And they blew the whistle. The sergeant went ahead and kicked me on my right knee. Now I have to have surgery years later. This year I gotta have surgery. But he kicked me on my knee. I fell to the ground, and I got my ass up right away. Then we had we had 5 red men drills. The 4th red man drill was 2 against 1. So you have to fight 2 men. If you're a girl, you got to fight 2 big men. And I ended up getting here on my left shoulder, I ended up getting a fragment, a line fracture. I didn't want to go to the doctor because I didn't want to be a wuss. They say that you're going to be a PUSSY, you're going to be a crybaby. I didn't want to go, but they had me go. And I graduated like that. I graduated with the effed up right knee and a fractured left shoulder. And then I didn't know the people there when I first got to the police academy, and they made me secretary. I'm like, why the F did you guys vote me in as a secretary? I was married to a cop. And then I was in the army too. So they had me do color guard. That's a lot of pressure because anytime somebody flunked their test, it was my responsibility to pass their ass. And I finally learned how to delegate authority. So you found what you were looking for?
Well, I had interviewed someone else, and they were discussing how their husband, the effects of anthrax on their husband. And the young lady's comment, it was Edna, and she said, it seems like it's their job to turn healthy people into sick people, because the things that are done, like the things that you're getting injected with, are, experimental a lot. And then the exercises that you're doing aren't the best. And then I was even thinking about it because the PX and stuff is when you're on base, all that stuff is open 24 hours a day. So you can always get cigarettes, you could always get
Drink.
alcohol, you
Mhm.
know. And even though I was thinking about the diet that we had, it wasn't like the best. We thought we were doing the
Gosh, the
best. It's like
MREs. I hated the MREs, and I don't like.
2,000 calories per package,
Wow.
right?
This is the I'm gonna cover my driver's license, but they can see it says veteran down here. This is what we're talking about earlier.
Yeah, you get your little veteran hologram symbol. Yeah, we earned it because we were part of the experiment. So so for those saggy dudes that are like not wanting to get your benefits, I don't know. I even on Veterans Day, I mean, I go get free food and I have fun. Some of the ladies here, they meet at like a steakhouse and they all get their steak and hang
They
out
get
and
free food
talk.
where? I want to get my free food on veterans.
Girl, it used to be Subway, but there's too many Subways. I had one friend, he would just go from Subway to Subway. But
And then you
uh
had like styrofoam or some kind of yoga mat crap in it. That food.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't frequent there too much. I remember the last time I really thought Subway was good was when I was still in Germany and I came here for a visit. I got 2 foot long seafood and a tuna sub, and on the plane I ate like both of them before I ain't really even got anywhere.
Yum.
Because we
You
were
know
in
what we
Germany.
need. You
I
know
can
we
eat. Yeah, we could eat, but I guess I mean it's testimony to the air that's inside that bread. I wasn't even that big back then, so yeah. I remember when we were there, like when I was in Germany, we would it would take like maybe we would take an hour ride to go to a KFC in a whole nother town. 3 hours to get to Cinnabon and Taco Bell. And so because we would have like a hospital, like I was in a satellite clinic and we'd have to go take this trip to the hospital once a week. Whoever was going on that trip, people were writing down their order, like bring me back Cinnabon, I want Taco Bell, I want, you know. So yeah, that craving for something, even though Germany had like the best food.
Oh,
Of all the countries I went to, I really felt like Germany had the best food until I went to Egypt. So, but Germany, it was the best. Better
well,
than Italy. I liked it better than the food in Italy.
really, I love Italia, is Venice, Rome. Rome, people were snobby in Rome.
Yeah.
But in Venezia and Venice, they were amor. They were just love. I don't know how to explain it.
Rome was amazing because the amount of homeless people. I don't know if they were backpackers or homeless, but I was right outside the Vatican and people would have like they'd have their blanket, their books, they'd have all their things. It was just like very neat. And then, it was just amazing. And all that cobblestone road. I missed going inside the Vatican, but that was back then before I knew what I knew. So I wouldn't even know what I was looking for. But I was always impressed by, and I don't mean like idealizing, but going inside those cathedrals over there, they would have some of the Pope robe type things that would be in glass, and so a person who probably takes a vow of poverty or something like that, but lives as rich as a person could live. It was just amazing.
Especially if you're a cardinal, a cardinal.
Yeah.
Because first
I
if
mean,
you're a monaguillo, which is a diacono or deacon, you can still be married, but then you become a priest and then you become a pope or a cardinal. And my mom was talking about this 2 days ago with me because now she's going through an awakening. About 3 months ago, I told people, and I made a short video on Instagram saying, you see how the pine needles are coming down from the trees, their skin. I made some junk journals with their skin, the tree skins coming out. you know, and one person said, yeah, that's because it's fall. We're coming into fall. And I'm like, okay, but there's something different.
Symbolic, yeah.
Yeah, this year to me, I felt the ground moving in a spiritual way. Mother Earth was telling me, your DNA is being upgraded. Right now is the time to move. You want to move right now, you better move right now, girl. You know, and I told everybody, this is a time for healing. Some people unfortunately got,
Yeah.
you know, that, and then other medical complications. That also could have been a contract that they had to go through that to have an awakening. I don't know, you know, but I've been cutting all and rebuking all cords, cutting all contracts that I even don't know about. And some person was telling me the other day, well, you shouldn't be cutting all contracts. I'm like, mofo, don't tell me what to do. I ain't coming back to this earth. But anyway, we're going on an upgrade. We're going through an ascension per se in 2023. And even when this year started, that midnight, I made a video. I don't even know if it's still up. I was in my pajamas. I was all tired. It was midnight. I'm like, this is 2023. You need to clean those closets out, those mirrors, whether they're in your mind, your spirit, or your house. There's some people that ended up getting cancer, unfortunately, but you know, they lived. But you know, now their hair's grown back. Now it the DNA upgrade could happen in many, many different ways. And I'm not saying that it's a good thing if they got sick. Okay, I'm not saying that, you fucking trolls out there. I have so many trolls lately. And I'm like, nope, I don't want to hear it. So it's like some kind of awakening, some kind of upgrade that we're going through. So my mom now started taking vitamins. She's finally started going to the gym last year, which I'm very proud of. She's gonna be 75 this year. And now she believes in vitamins, vitamin B12. But you gotta also be careful, right, First Lady Erica, because maybe some have some things in them that, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, I'm leery about a lot of things. I know too to speak light over the things that we take in our body. And I'm like, this is why, I guess this is why people used to pray over their food. You speak what you want over your food. And the importance of that really has come to me, you know, in the last couple of years as we've worried more and more. Because I even said, we were just talking about this, like, how much chicken is chicken? Like, if the gas station sells chicken and the corner store sells chicken and Burger King, McDonald's, KFC, Chick-fil-A, like, if all these places are selling chicken, that's a lot of chicken. Is it all really chicken? You know, the same thing with the Subway was, you know, some of that was yoga mat. Some of that, the tuna wasn't tuna. um and then you know, honestly, you could even think about, there's some people, they think they're better off because they're vegan and because they're not eating meat. And
that's
it's like,
another
yeah,
program.
but most of the vegetables are hybridized. Some of them are injected with stuff. I remember, you know, as a medical lab technician, what we studied, lots of case studies where bacteria finds their way in and parasites live inside the fruits and the vegetables. And there was one case, they were just talking about the purity of their apples. The apples were just so pure and they weren't pasteurized, right? They weren't going to take the nutrients out. Well, what happened was the people picking the apples, some of them, they were picking off the ground, and there were deer living in the area, and deer poop near the apples. So that's where the E. coli outbreak, a big E. coli outbreak, came from. So kids had this apple juice and were being exposed to E. coli, but it was it was non-pasteurized, and it was pure, and it was this, but it was, you know, you see it, they do it, it'll be lice. There's lice that lives on broccoli. I remember when Wendy's had to stop selling, that's when Wendy's closed down their salad bar. Remember, they had a salad bar,
Maybe close
you
it
used
down.
to be able to fix your salad bar. Well, what happens is the principle of first in, first out was not being followed. So instead of when they would fill up the food, they would just pour more on top, not thinking about what the bacteria that grows underneath it. And this is a salad bar, so it just kind of would grow out. But then there's certain things because of raw fruits and vegetables, if they're not cleaned properly, there was lice on the broccoli. And
Oh,
so this is the cause of them shutting down the salad bar. I've been in places too. I've been at the gas station. Me and my son one day we're at this gas station, and the donuts weren't individually wrapped. Well, there was a big old giant roach up in there, and my son was like, "Ma'am," you know. So when we go places and we see food inside a big open counter, we're like, "It's not really." Have you seen the one where the people? They were at like some type of French pastry place, and there was a whole mouse inside there.
oh no, I haven't heard of that.
Yeah, so it's just with our food, how do you know, then too, when our medical holocaust happened in 2020, I already felt like it was in the meat, but I talked to this woman who ran a farm and she said, yeah, they have shots for the animals. They'd already had immunizations for the animals and they'd already been giving them what? It was in the shot for years. So if you're not cooking the meat properly, you know, but some people think, oh, it's meat that's your enemy. And it's like, no, you really just have to put positive intentions on your food and you have to speak life over your food. And
Your food.
we
Yeah,
have to transmute a lot.
yeah.
The
Yeah,
same
my mom
way
and I
with
were talking about that. She says, well, what do you think we pray for our food? And I'm like, because they get
Mhm.
upset because I don't pray over my food like they do in the name of blah, 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 and this is this. I said, Mom, I do it a different way. I sometimes if you see me, I said I'll put my hands over and I'll close my eyes and I'll be clearing the food and I'll be saying thank you to the animal that made the sacrifice and you are good. And my water too, you are good. And I clear it.
You are here for my greatest good and the welfare of my body. This comes from, you know, universe or source, or it's coming from the earth and it's coming directly to serve me to my greatest and highest good.
Like
I
that.
mean, there's because I know I gotta find a way to say it for you.
I really don't use words. I just it's just more of
This is
magic.
in the resonance, this food and water is in the resonance with my frequency and vibration and is here for my greatest and highest good. That's another way to say it. So, yeah, we really have to speak to everything in our life. Actually, it's so funny because I was just looking at this. I had just printed this out before I saw you. Your voice commands.
I love it because our yeah, we our voice is healing too. That's awesome.
So it's talking about the damage done by saying can't and won't, but then it's also talking about try. Try means like you're
That
on a
means
tread.
you already failed.
Well, try also puts you on like a hamster wheel. It's saying that it'll never happen. So try and you will do it over and over and over and it will never end. It's repetitious, it's never ending. And it's saying to use words like I can, that literally promotes growth. I am. Can is a command for self. I believe allows your wants and needs and desires to become true. It is done. It is a behavior of using good words. I can do it. I can do anything. And so it is a condition and it moves a person forward in life. When you know inside you can do it, your body needs to hear it. Your
Yes.
body reacts to the key words. So it was, I had this because I'm writing out my own subliminals tonight so that I record my own affirmations and then listen to them while I'm sleeping. So I have my own subliminals in my own voice. But this is because it's me and I put my own name in it, and these are my subliminals and my voice. This is me talking to the universe perpetually over and over again. So if I listen to it every night, it's me saying it over and over again, making it true.
Yeah,
So
that's I'm glad you're talking about that because when I was in junior high, I started to record my voice. You know the old recorders you push and my sister, she would always say, "Why are you recording yourself?" And I said, "Because I need to remember what there's a test coming up, especially with words in
Oh,
English.
that's a nice thing for school. Yeah.
That's what I did. Plus, I did the index cards, and that's the same thing that I did when I was in the police academy to remember the police codes, because police codes, I was under the sheriff office, okay? And then when I lateraled over to South Tucson Police, well, it's the same thing, but they would laugh at me because I would mix up the sheriff codes with city codes with military codes.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Because Tucson Police is different. They use like Robert, Mary, Oscar instead of Romeo, Ocean, Nora for November. So things like that.
And you just saying that about the test. There's that little Asian kid that got the book and he was doing this. You remember that little
That's,
video?
yeah,
That's
I
what
like
that
that.
reminds me of.
Yeah, I like that.
Him just,
What I do is I put my books under my I still do. I put my books
yeah,
under
so
my,
you can get some osmosis.
yeah,
You know how they
love
say
it.
you're not gonna learn from osmosis. You got to open the book. They used to say that, but is it
Oh
true?
my
I
God.
don't think it's true.
I learn differently, and I have to read lips when you're in front of me. And it has nothing to do with my hearing. I hear perfect. I can even hear another person in another room. My mom would say, "You have sonic hearing," because I was in the bathroom or whatever, the living room, and she was way in the kitchen talking crap about me and my sister. And she's like, "Oh my gosh, mental health." Yeah, this whole tinnitus thing, I always say, and of course the military won't tell you, is that it's the alphabet soups trying to get you in mode to, like the Manchurian candidate, trying to change your personality with the tones, but they don't want us to know. Now they're saying, oh yeah, it's tinnitus. You're gonna get a percentage for your disability in the VA. Isn't that interesting? That's another guinea pig that we were used for. My friend, he's not my friend.
What do you mean guinea pig? What do you mean? Like what happened?
Guinea pig for the tones. When you're, whether you're in the police, whether you're in the police academy, army, or whatever, if you're in boot camp, or now that we're out of military and police, um they're still sending the signals in your ears. I had to unplug my house phone because when I first moved in here, my son was picking up the phone. He says, "Mom, it sounds like a dial tone." I go, "Don't pick that shit up. It could be a fax tone. It could be, it's for you to change personalities, or they'll give you a command, go kill somebody or some shit like that, okay? And that's on regular house phones. It could be on phones here. What I'm talking about is when you hear the tone in your ear, and sometimes it's really high, it gives me a migraine, or it could be real low and just like gives me a headache. It could be that they're wanting us to do something, or
I'm thinking I can hear electricity like way more than anybody else.
yeah, me too, exactly, because we have sonic hearing. We have our abilities, and that's one of the
Like you
reasons.
know when a TV comes on, even when
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
this
And it could be in your neighbor's house, and you're like,
yeah.
wait, I just heard something, and it's like 2, 3 in the morning, and it's like waves coming in
It's
this
true,
direction.
yeah. I can hear people like a street over. I mean, I've heard some things where I went outside and I was like, what is all this? And it's like, why should you hear any of that from inside the house? Mhm.
Yeah, and you
Yeah.
know what? I just got that Ring doorbell thing because they broke into my my vehicle on the 27th. I put a little clip of the girl that wears wigs around here, and I'm looking for her all the time, or whoever. I'm like, don't you come in here and try and F up this new life for me, the chess game. So I got the Ring doorbell, which is ADT with Google, and of course, people can hack in there. I don't want to hear no
Oh
troll.
yeah. Have you seen that where they're talking to people's kids, like the little baby monitors and stuff, and
Crazy,
people
huh?
are talking to their kids in the other room, and strangers are tapping in. Yeah.
So I got that, and I got to be extremely careful. I wanted to say something. Oh yeah. So I noticed that it takes constant pictures of the person that's outside. Just like an iPhone takes constant pictures of you if you don't have your, even if you have your camera blocked here, like I do, yeah.
Yeah, you know what you can do to see if what's going on with your iPhone, like point it at another type of camera, and you can't see it with your eye, but if on another camera it picks up the flashes that it's communicating and talking. Yeah, when my broken phone was going on and off and on and off, just blinking and the screen was changing, you could hear the hepatic tone, like
No.
as if I was touching it and I wasn't even touching it, and I was,
Because it's an
it's
entity. I
pretty
don't think it's an
interesting.
entity in your phone. They don't believe me. To this day, they don't believe me. But your phone is actually copying you. It's making a mirror out of you. It's learning. It's
You
actually an
know what I
entity.
also heard about? The thing, like there's the actual internet, but then there's the internet of things.
Yeah,
The things that communicate without you having to
better.
touch it or control it.
Yeah,
So
that's
there's
AI.
the internet of things, like
Mhm.
your Wi-Fi robot vacuum.
Yeah. Or I have a fan. It's one of those black tall ones that oscillate and they have the blue light. Well, when I had my phone next to it, I did an experiment. I don't know what the heck happened, but it turned on by itself. I didn't have it, I didn't have it on. It would go when I had it on with my old phone that was also hacked. It went. I even did a video on it on Instagram like a year ago. They communicate with each other, and that's the AI world that they also don't want us to
Mm.
know about. Everything whether you have a cell phone or not, there are drones, satellites, there's a LiDAR thing that could see through your home. They're always watching. Why do you think the whole brother in the eye in the sky thing is? With Bush, when the whole 9/11 thing happened that they did on purpose, was actually to usher in not only the what they call a tomahawk thing, but the LiDAR, where they can pinpoint your exact location. You know, you see it on the sci-fi movies, the cop movies, like with the one with Tom Cruise, the Minority Report. They can
Ooh,
they
what a creepy movie. Yeah. We're locking people up before they even do the crime, just for,
mhm.
thinking about it in the future. But then too, that just made me think about the nanobites that are dropped out. Like when you think about what's the purpose of chemtrails, like that's literally filling the air with nanites that are,
That go
yeah.
on your skin, and they
Mhm.
also communicate with your brain, with your
So in the
body.
one thing you want to go outside, but then it's like
Yeah.
you just constantly have to be vigilant and calling power over your life and transmuting everything, because
Yes.
yeah, they're just these things around us. But for sure, can't stop living. For sure. For sure.
Go back to I interrupted you. Go back to that lady's husband, because I also had the anthrax, which is called the 5-in-1. They put there, instead of giving us shots every month for 6 months, they gave us the 5-in-1 in one shot right before we took our oath, man.
Yeah.
That those are nanites, and I've had 7 feet surgeries, a lot of spine surgeries. What they did with the anthrax was to light up our back. So that way they can see aerial view. Oh, there's Vero, or there's Erica. All right, there they are. They're
Yeah. That's an interesting thing because, just like this other issue, you signed a waiver. Well, there was a class action lawsuit. They actually overturned the class action lawsuit for the anthrax, and no one can actually sue. But I'm glad. Are they giving benefits for it though? I remember when my friend had to take it, and
just
he was
got his benefits. He just
okay. So they're actually going to give people benefits for it. At least they're going to do that, because there was no, you couldn't do a class action lawsuit. With this particular woman, the interview is on my channel, but he actually it was like protein breakdown in the body, where he was urinating his muscles and blood tissue, and literally it looked like cranberries. And he died. He went through a rapid decline because
wait, no. Tell me again, what happened with the urine thing?
the muscles and the tissue dissolved in his body, and he was basically urinating out the protein in urine, and it was
What?
literally red, like it was like cranberries. Yeah.
You know, I ask you is because I've been getting up every 10 to 20 minutes to go pee at night, especially.
Mm.
So I've already had 3 bladder surgeries. And one of the things that I heard when I went to do the whole pack thing at the VA, they were asking many of the guys there, do you urinate frequently? Do you have
Well,
diet?
that's probably like the enlarged prostate thing that they got going on, because this is gonna be literally blood. This is really blood in the toilet. It's really more than just blood. It's blood in your actual muscle tissue that's actually breaking down. The actual name of that illness, I can't remember, but let me see. I can give you the link to that particular. It was,
Your video, that way I can put it on this one with the
yeah.
video.
And let me see the description, if I had it in the description. Mm, trigger event. No. Oh, there it is. Parox Paroxysmal nocturnal hemoglobinuria. Paroxyl Paroxysmal 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 nocturnal hemoglobin urea. So yeah. So all the blood and blood compounds are being, I would also say it's probably protein urea as well, but
I just drank, I started taking this one, it's for the night, where is it? Citrate, it's magnesium citrate. I've had to start taking turmeric, the multivitamins plus the potassium, and the vitamin K. There's multivitamin here, the organic one, because I have noticed that I was losing a lot of like amino acids and all that stuff. I think it's right here. This one's from Mexico, citrado de magnesio. And then when I went to the doctor 2 weeks ago, I said, hey, give me vitamin B12 shot. He's like, oh, that's just like if I was gonna shoot you up with sugar. That's not gonna help you. I'm like, really? I go, give it to me anyway. I know it's gonna help me. I'm O negative. I said,
Myers cocktail helped me a lot.
which one?
Myers cocktail.
Oh, tell me about that one.
Myers cocktail, there's different ways you can uh different ways or different names, because there's a one mixed up with the protein, not protein, the vitamin B, but it's B complex vitamin, calcium gluconate, magnesium, trace elements, zinc, copper, manganese, selenium, and vitamin C. And that was something when I was having issues with the back muscles, but I was having such extreme fatigue that this was something I felt helped me a lot. Like my brain was stimulated, and I honestly think that kind of led to some other things happening as well, because I was so deficient. When I left my job, I was struggling so badly with memory, but I self-diagnosed myself again, saying that my brain is malnutrition. I'm not getting any nutrition because we're not eating live food. I'm taking the medicine that the VA gives me, and to stay awake and alert at work, I'm taking 2 Red Bulls a day or 2 Monsters a day. And then when I would come home at night, pick my son up, I'll sleep and then wake up around 9, get my son to go to bed, and then I'll go back to sleep. And on the weekends, Friday, I would start my sleeping until Sunday.
That's a lot of sleeping.
Yeah, and so once I retired, I had a Russian doctor, and she gave me this. And then,
Yes.
now I'm like the busiest person. I don't work now, but I'm the busiest person, always doing something, and can barely get to sleep. My mind is always moving. So I think months of that kind of therapy. It says it strengthens your immune system, blocks histamine, supports your adrenal glands, promotes wound healing, helps your adrenal insufficiency, fights bacteria and viral infection, prevents muscle soreness. And at that time too, I was doing and since then I was doing acupuncture and things like that. So I've definitely been taking
Yeah,
time to do other things.
because I'm in a lot of pain. I mean, whether I go work out or not, it's so much freaking pain. I can't sleep because of the pain. Then I gotta pee every like 10, 20 minutes. And it's not diabetes. And then I noticed, I asked my son the other day, because he's a fitness trainer, I said, hey, how come my sweat and urine smells like sugar?
Because of
And
the stuff you're taking.
I'm taking vitamins, but he goes, is it because you're eating a lot of carbohydrates, mom? And I'm like, well, yeah, I recently added more carbohydrates because like I said before we started recording, I was smoking before, and then I had my back surgeries. I had to stop smoking organic tobacco, even though it was helping me with the anxiety and the weight. I actually have a booty now and bigger legs, and I'm very grateful. I've never had I came home from the gym today, and I told my son he was shaving, and I go, God damn, Eli. I said, I've never had a big ass like this, only when I was pregnant with you. He goes, oh my gosh, mom. And he started laughing. It's because I'm letting myself eat. I'm letting myself eat not only just protein, so I was taking, I was cutting down on the food, protein only, and cheat days once a week. But now it's like, you know what? I'm gonna let myself eat, and I'm still gonna go work out. It's a give and take. You're right.
Yeah, live. Live. I
Yeah,
thought I was gonna lose weight when I went to Egypt, but that wasn't possible either.
especially now
No
with your.
one wants to let you not eat. They're like, no, 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 no. Yeah. I'm like, oh my God, my sweetheart, you got a nice little booty, nice little legs. And he's like, no, eat, eat. I'm like, okay.
Like
Sometimes I
that.
think some men try to keep you plump.
Yeah, no, that's another thing. I wanted to tell you publicly, which I already told you. I was very scared for you. I even told this person that I don't want to mention. I said, I'm very scared for late this first aid Eric. I said, because what if she gets abducted? Or if she gets taken over there? She's crazy going over there. And what if that guy she's
Literally by myself, literally, not with a group of women or anything.
so you want to talk about that or no?
It's fine. I mean, I think would I recommend it for everyone? No, but I do think women, we have to take our power back and be able to travel. The thing that made it safe for me is I was in communication with so many people while I was there that I had people in different places that I've already met on the last trip, that if this group of people that I was with didn't weren't exactly, if it didn't work out, I was texting the whole time like, yeah, I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. Here's a pin. Where's my address? Like, so it wasn't like I was just there by my complete self. Um I do believe that that's a factor. But I met another lady from Belgium, and she was super sweet. I met her on the beach, and she was there kind of in that same capacity I was. She was with someone, but she knew other people, but she was away from her family and she was alone. But I think that both of us really proved to ourselves that we could navigate no matter what. Like if we were in situations where we weren't enjoying that, we could just kind of move to the left, move to the right, because you're alone, but everybody's really watching. Trust, especially when women are there, everyone's watching. They have a lot of rules on transportation and travel too, about people having to have certain kind of license, tourist license to even for you to even be in a vehicle with them. So they are watching. People are watching, and the same thing that if you're with people that maybe aren't treating you well or maybe taking advantage in some way, someone else is always looking to benefit. You know what I'm saying, right? Like, somebody else is like, well, shoot, if they can't help you, I help you, and I'll do this and I'll do. So the opportunities are there for people to help you, but there's also opportunities there for people to take advantage. And it's up to you to kind of like know the money system, know how much things really cost. And for me, that's what happened. I learned a lot about what things really cost and how to navigate on my own, even if you don't speak Arabic. But it's so funny too how people might try to take advantage of you. But even if you don't speak Arabic, they don't know that I speak universal language of spirit. I know when someone's lying. I know when someone's manipulating or making fast deals behind my back. And I'm like, so at which point I made decisions on my own to say, well, I came to get this and do this. I'm going to do this. And then when I'm no longer getting what I need and I'm finished, then I'll move on. So I made that move. And then boom, I made that move and went to this fabulous hotel where grapes were growing I was walking up the steps and I was like, are these really grapes growing? Like these are mangoes and figs. And I just went to this fabulous hotel and I changed my whole trip. I had 12 days left and I went out on my own, and it just ended up being the best part of the trip was me taking things into my own hands and navigating, still being like, ooh, look out for me, universe, but it just ended up being spectacular. And I ended up meeting, because I did get to the point where last year I was like, I want to meet this special person that I could trust them to walk me across the streets of Cairo blindfolded. And I met that person at the right place at the right time, who just happened to be there that day for one special purpose and one special purpose only. That if he hadn't had that call to say, hey, we need you to do this, I wouldn't have met him. And then everything else we will say is history, because even when we met, I was like, this 2 days in, we're like, this sounds like a really beautiful love story, I think,
Yeah.
and that person, I know that that's my wife from my past life. And I've had confirmation, and people looked at the pictures, and I take pictures with Egyptian men all the time, men and women, and people said inbox, something's going on. What's this? And I'm like, yeah, baby, like, yeah, this is it. So yeah, I went all the way around the world at almost 50 and met my person. So, and it's wonderful. And I'll be going back in December. My son has his passport, and so that'll be my third trip in a year.
Oh, that is so nice. I got invited to go to Savannah, Georgia, and I'm gonna go to South Carolina.
Very
I
interesting.
can't wait.
I
And
have a friend, she lives in Atlanta.
really,
She was working on a movie set, and she was in Savannah, and she just left there.
did
Yeah.
did she like it?
She loved it. She was just talking about how peaceful it was, like her mind was able to expand and she was able to relax. It was like a whole different feeling for her, and she truly, truly loved it. Savannah is a different kind of place. I just imagine that the water tastes sweet when it comes out of the out of the tap. Like it just
That's the feeling
it's different.
I've been getting this calming, peaceful confirmation. Because I was gonna go to Las Vegas to the Super Soldier thing, and I wasn't gonna be in the conference because of everything that's been going on, negative crap. So I was just gonna hang out with someone, and she had invited me to stay at her place. But I'm having surgery, the 23rd surgery, so that's not gonna work out. Um. So yeah, later on this year, I'm gonna go over there instead. I can change my ticket. I was even thinking of going to Dominican Republic by myself to find out where my great grandma actually lived and where she comes from all exactly over there. But it was like another $500, and then I didn't really want to go by myself because maybe I'll take my son next time. We'll see. But Yeah. Can you tell
It's
me?
an adventure. I mean, I probably might feel safer in Dominican Republic. I don't know. Well, I guess I heard a lot about crime there, but we always hear it's kind of like this thing to pin us in and make us not go anywhere.
Because they want to keep us in the US.
Yeah, and it's kind of this thing, and yeah, things happen. Like people use what happened to those people in Mexico. I said, okay, I can't use the people that went to Mexico as an example because they were up to some fuckery, let's be honest. And who knows what they were really doing and why. Because even the dynamic of the group didn't really make sense, didn't really set well. So I can't base, you know, you know, then there was the girl in Dubai who made a big scene and they locked her up for some amount of years, but she was being I don't know, I guess she had some kind of outburst of anger in public and did something and they locked her up. But I'm like, well, that's not me because I actually know how to act in public. So I'm not really worried about some of the things, and I'm not into going to skeevy shifty places at night as a woman, and I'm not, certain things I'm not doing that would lead me to be in certain situations. So don't base your travel on, these
Yeah.
things
I
that are
have a
happening to
family
people.
in Sinaloa, Culiacan. So
I
I
even
don't
overstayed my visa.
what?
Yeah, I was supposed to stay there for 30 days. And when I met my sweetheart, he said, can you stay an extra 10 days so you can see if you really, really like me? If you really want to be with me or not. And I was like, okay. And I waited till closer towards the end of the trip and I stayed an extra 10 days and I overstayed my visa and still didn't, it wasn't a problem.
That's good.
So
I'm glad that you stayed those extra days because then you
yes,
really
I did.
hmm
And I did because it was just really trying to see if the compatibility was there. I think that was it because I don't like to feel trapped. And it was like, well, I want this, but I don't know if you want this. And I want you to know if you know, if you know, if I know, if you know. And I was like, okay, I like this. This is nice. Not somebody who's like, you are mine and you're gonna be with me forever. And I was
and
like,
then they want to
not.
castrate you. You want to talk about that? They want to cat. Hell to
Oh yeah, now I'm gonna say this. A lot of men there, they enjoy women from Europe and America because we're not circumcised. That is a tradition. It's kind of like it's so funny because I think these places like they have some traditions, but they really don't want that. If you were to use the voice of the average person in public, they don't really want women that are circumcised. I really don't think that, even though I think it's a part of their culture. They're not going to individually stand up to change it, but not all the women are circumcised. But I can imagine, like, yeah, you probably have some trouble getting some at night if
I had no idea
sex
until
was painful. I had no idea too. I knew that some parts of Africa had circumcision, but I don't need to prove my loyalty to anything enough to do that. But I remember the book about female circumcision. Remember that woman? I think she was on Oprah, and all that stuff came out about the female circumcision, and they made a movie about it. And the young lady, they told her, they said some of us go and get ours tightened even more, and if you hadn't found your orgasm, then that's your fault. But at
oh wow.
some point, not all women who like you can. I think some people can still have orgasms if you learn about yourself. If you know what I'm saying, you need
So
to learn more about yourself, things that make to stimulate you. So some women aren't into trying to find their G spots because you got your clitoris, but then there's still a G spot in there. And if you never learn, and if you don't say, hey, look, don't just jump on me, you gotta figure this out. Like, you have to, but if you look at sex as this mechanical thing where this is what we do to have a baby and you don't find pleasure in the spots that pleasure you, then yeah, I mean, you could have a nipple orgasm. So
exactly.
you could,
You
you
can
know,
have you can have a mind orgasm too.
yeah, you can have. So what can I say? I can't fix it. But and some people will say, well, the men, and I was like, well, the funny thing is that the men seem to enjoy sex there a lot. So I don't know how much men would be angry if women stop getting them. I think that's kind of a system built where if I'm your mom and I'm telling you you should do it because I got it done. I think if, that's my opinion. I don't know. So I hadn't talked to enough women because you're not in the home really to talk to enough women to find out what their view is on how do we stop the female circumcision,
Yeah.
you know.
I
But
do.
over time, I'll be able to do more talking to different women, I believe. You know, I've met some women who are like, hey, I don't want to wear the hijab anymore. Some women are like, I don't have to be married. I'm divorced, but still wear the hijab anyway. So there's a lot going on. It's just like America, how people define their Christianity. Not everybody is so strict. There's people that smoke, there's people that drink, there's women over there driving. There's a lot of things going on where it's not like you're getting stoned in the street for everything over there. It's this idea. I think a lot of people think that Egypt is more like Saudi Arabia, which even Saudi Arabia is changing and growing because they're even investing money into Netflix to show us that we have a sense of humor about it. With that, Massamer County will go take you through all the stereotypical type behaviors and attitudes in Saudi Arabia. That is a really funny show. It's two
Oh, nice.
seasons, the cartoon.
I want to watch it. What's
Yeah.
it?
Massamer County.
Oh, wow.
It's on Netflix. And so Saudi Arabia put 250 million into the arts and television, and they got a lot of shows on Netflix right now.
I've
Let
seen
me
some, but not the cartoon. And then I've seen a lot of there's the I think I'm not sure if he's called the king or whatever in Saudi Arabia. He has this big ass AI robot following him everywhere. And that was in Mexico that they talked about it last year, and they finally showed it. I showed it a few times. He's like his protector now. He's really tall.
an AI robot.
Yeah, and then they have the top of the line, you know,
There's that.
telephones, phones, spyware. Pretty interesting.
So I sent you the link about Massamer County. So it's Massameer, and it's very cerebral. It's very fast paced cartoons, not for children. This is for adults, and it really like they talk about the fact that the old school is we only listen to this music and we only do this and how these two guys are fighting for the new mindset. Like one guy is trying to be modern and one icon is trying to say, no, we need to stick with the old. And they talk about it. They talk about the women. And then there's the Massamer County that's not converted into English. And they even get into, why aren't you married? You're this age and you're not married. Something's wrong with you. And they throw the men in jail for not being married by a certain age. Like these things where they're just they're attacking their own stereotypes and their own labels and their own way of thinking. So I thought it was pretty progressive that, and the cartoon is 11 years old and it just got converted into English like last year. So so our I started to actually wonder, the same way that people, our government doesn't really want us to travel, is the same way they want us to view other countries' religion and their social constructs, right? Because when you got people like, darn it, I cannot remember her name.
Okay, it'll
with,
come.
with the turban, when you got people like her telling us, you're telling us America sucks, but you come from a third world country or an Arabic speaking country where you yourself can't even be a politician.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you tell us about what's going on here? But then also too, when we think of places like Saudi Arabia, they're making it seem like women are getting their fingernails pulled out like on a daily basis. And is it like a certain level of abuse? Because look at this place. There's a certain level of abuse, right? With racism, there's a certain level of abuse with the police system. There's a certain level of abuse with the government and with missing children,
Is it
right?
the L?
Ilhan Omar.
Oh,
Ilhan Omar, and she has another. There's a few of them in our government, right? That are, and so
The Al Jazeera.
they're joining our government and be, a part of the feminist movement here to say that other countries are like this. And I'm like, well, is it like that with all those men and all those women? Just the same way you meet a person from that country that's abusive, you can meet some people from here that are pretty damn abusive, men and women. And so is it really like this in that country? Because we've never been, we don't know. We only hear the worst stories, and that's basically what we're addicted to, is hearing the worst stories.
Like with
And
Iran and Iraq wars and how they want, they years ago they came out with the Trump coin because they said he was going to be king, and then Jerusalem is like the new, you know.
there's a lot, and it depends on who's telling the story, if the person's on the left or the right. And they're gonna tell you the most extreme part of any story, and you won't know the truth for yourself. That's kind of what my whole trips to Egypt are about. Is I don't really want to watch Billy so and so or this person or that person's video. I really just want to know for myself. And so I've taken it upon myself to do a life study of going to Egypt, right? I want to learn it for myself. I want downloads. I want to stand next to pyramids. I want to touch things, and I want to see what memories I get when I go, and not base everything on what someone else says,
Yeah, Carrie Cassidy has a thing. She goes to Egypt like once a
once
year.
a year.
And I wanted to go, but it's kind of pricey, like with her tour and
How much
stuff.
was it?
Huh?
How much was it?
What is that?
Oh, I said, how much was it?
Oh, I don't remember. It's
I
actually on
wonder.
the website.
Was it 14 days? I do know some people that went, like Aaron Kuhn and his
Was it
girlfriend,
okay?
or fiance, I should say, because I don't know, they might be married by now, but yeah, I know they went. Yeah, and for me, and I don't want to, I'm just at this point where I'm just breaking loose, and I don't want to stay for 1 hour or 2 hours at the Karnak Temple. I want to stay there all day, and I want to sit there, and I want to have lunch and just be across the street. So I want to be there. So that's what I'm trying to do.
That's part of it. That's part of the upgrade that I was talking about earlier. You totally have gone full blown, and I'm very proud of you. I did too. I moved. I changed my life.
Yeah.
Um,
If we're not changing, we're not growing. If we're not, we have this idea of seeing ourselves in these homes for 20 and 30 and until we die, and then we got jobs for 20 and 30. And this is a thing that's been manufactured. I was just talking about this, the engineering of consent book, these propaganda that we've been sold, like everything about America is propaganda. The American family, how many kids they have one car or in the driveway, and 2.5 kids, and retire. Like all this stuff has been sold to us. And that's why when we go and try to get this job and think we're going to feel fulfilled by going to college and having a job and having a family, that it doesn't work. And you're like, well, why doesn't it work? Because it's been sold to you. It's a package, and it's a lie. This is advertising. This is
even
all,
like
it's a poke and a smile. It's
yeah.
that guy back in a long time ago who did that artwork for Coca-Cola, the Coca-Cola beer. They used to love him, but he created these beautiful sceneries of life, and you're like, but this isn't how life. And I think a lot of people struggle with this because it's America, it's Christianity, it's Islamic religion too. When you think, oh, I'm gonna wait till I got me a home and I got a certain amount of money and I'm going to get married and everything is just going to work out just fine. And everything, this one girl, I saw her, she was getting married and she's like 18 years old, but she said, Erica, when two people love each other and they get married, it just works. And I was looking at her, I was trying to give her a talk about life, about, when you get married after a while, maybe your husband doesn't listen and maybe you got to put on a sweet voice, or sometimes you might have to be a little bit firm because he might forget who you are. He might forget your voice. Not that he might forget you, but he might forget, hey, I need to pay attention to what this woman says because her happiness is my happiness.
Yeah.
And I tried to explain it to her and she said, no, it just works because we just love each other. I'm like, honey, that gets old. Sex can get old, money can get old, work gets old, life gets old. And so I was just like, whew, she was in this fairy tale land. And so this is a country just,
Must have watched Barbie. Just kidding.
yeah. But in this land of fairy tales and lies, and people here, that's why people here are so discontent because they've been sold these stories that if you do this, then you'll be happy. If you
Well,
buy
yeah,
this, you'll be
like
happy.
let's see. My dad, I was born in Nogales, Sonora, Mexico, and after I was a year old, my dad immigrated me and my mom to Nogales, Arizona. And his whole time there, he wanted us to come to Tucson. So I got here when I was 7. This whole, and my dad still, he worked at a farm place, with tomatoes. And then later on, when we came here to Tucson, he was a janitor for Suntran, and that was a big, because he used to be a mechanic. Well, and my mom hated it that he wouldn't charge the right amount, but my dad was an empath, and then finally, I think he got mechanic of the year. He finally made it to mechanic at Suntran, but that was his dream, to come to the United States,
Mm-hmm.
and I struggle with that, because what were they selling to my dad and my mom? Like, what? And then I was in the military, like we started talking about that, and then you get injured by the military government, then you become a cop, and then you're still an experiment. The United States is an experiment. Why didn't my parents stay in Mexico? I don't know. My mom tells me that the mafia is really bad over there. The Sur 13 comes over here. They talk about Sinaloa, Culiacan, where my family lives too, and it's like you said, it's what what's true and what's not. Like, the American dream, really, the white picket fence. We never got the white picket fence and the dog and the money, and you have to freaking be pretty much a slave to be able to get food here. Yeah, welfare. I'm still on welfare. That's why I want to get my benefits, because I don't want to be on welfare no more. I don't want to struggle every week wondering where's the food coming. I'm selling my books, I'm doing my readings, but these fucking trolls say don't go to Veronica's channel. I know I'm getting off topic, but we were going to talk about this too, Miss Lady Erica. Don't go to Veronica's. Don't go to Miss Lady Erica. And it's a numbers game.
Interesting. If somebody tells people don't do interviews with this person, don't watch them because they're compromised, don't I don't even know how to even address it, because it's just at one point I was talking to some other people, and it was, well, you must really be, are you afraid of me? Are you afraid of me?
Why?
Why? I'm nobody. I have, like, unless you can energetically see something so powerful inside me that you just don't want people to feel or be a part of. Is it necessarily dark? I don't think so. I know that I have Christed energy. I know that I have light energy.
Yeah,
I know that I help people and I love people and I take care of people. So if you don't want people to talk to me, maybe because it's something dark inside of you
exactly.
that you fear, if you go into the light, you might not like this dark place that I have so much. There's something that makes you want to control what other people watch and what other people do. And it's interesting, because isn't that what the government does? They want to control what people watch and
But
control what people do.
I
So it's
will.
interesting that you would use the same tactics that the Illuminati would use.
Well, guess what? Guess what? And I'm going to say this publicly. I'm not going to say the person's name, but she knows, because if she's still watching, and I still love her, but I stopped talking to her and another lady. I made the mistake publicly right now, in this now moment, at 6:53 p.m. on my computer, It is, what day is it? 18th of August, 2023. And Lola's right next to me. You're my witness. Lola's my witness. I am publicly going to say, I am sorry to this person, and you know who you are, for asking you not to share certain videos. Because you had told me that they were bad people, and I also had dreams of them that they were bad, and legitimately, yes, they were hurting me. This other lady said that they were sending black magic. Yes, I know. And we talked about that. I ended up blocking them, but then this person is publicly sharing their videos, even though she told me not to associate with them. You know, I ended up blocking a bunch of people. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is, and yes, you were right. I am sorry for asking you to not share their videos because they hurt me. I am publicly right now saying I'm sorry. And I'm not gonna be a two-face about it. I'm being clear right now. Okay, go for it, Miss Lady Erica. First Lady Erica, your turn.
With
Thank you
that situation, I'm confused. I still don't get it, but I'm confused. But
Right?
but I it's like you
Oh shit.
know, I approached a very strong system, and I didn't know it was a system. I didn't know that I was a part of a system. And
Wait. But what are you confused about? Listen, this person told me these people are hurting you energetically, blah blah blah. You know, I ended up blocking them even before she told me, but there's some more that I had blocked because of the dreams that I was having and things like that. So this
to
person turned
protect you, she says, don't watch,
so
don't share
to
these
protect,
videos.
right. So I told her, don't share their videos. Why are you sharing their videos if you told me that they're bad people? And I know they're bad because of the shit they did to me in the super soldier conferences that I've talked about before that I don't want to talk about anymore.
Yeah.
Blocking these people, but then here this person is sharing the videos of the bad people because of good information in them. So I got pissed.
It's hard because yeah,
Yeah.
there's videos you can definitely delete, but like you know, even that veteran video, that lady, she does not like me at all. She can't stand me, but the
You're not
video
gonna
is
erase it? No.
helpful to people, right? Because it's talking about a true life situation.
Yep.
So do I
Yeah.
delete that video? It's a lot of that. It's a balance too, because
No, you don't delete it.
even at the consciousness ward, like this I remember seeing this in the consciousness ward where they got interviewed by a lot of people, Jermaine and a lot of people, you know, associated with him were interviewed on other channels, and it was deleted. But it was like people who felt like, oh my God, but it was a good interview.
It was good
I don't
information.
know, because sometimes do you let your feelings get in the way of business? Do you let your feelings get in the way
We're not
of
supposed to, Miss Lady Erica. We're not supposed to.
right? Because the last video that I put up of a shaman and the poor shaman. Now the
I
people
saw
may
that video.
the people may have hurt me, right?
Mhm.
But guess what? And and I talked to his camp about this, and it was decided that, you know, it comes across so beautiful. Why? Because everybody loved him. And guess what? They might not like me, but they do still love him, right? And in the video, they loved him, and the energy would come across that is
Good.
positive. That when people listen to it, they're like, wow, this is actually amazing. Like I
Okay.
watched it. When I watch that video, I don't get angry like, these people that don't like me, or I look at it and it's like, damn, this is, you know, there were some things that disturbed me because I felt like that particular video, it was taken over because I asked for a person to be a translator, and instead of doing that, they
I saw
basically
that.
they had
I
like a whole conversation, which you can translate, right?
saw
Because
that.
you can speak Spanish. Well, this whole conversation goes on for like 20 minutes,
You're over
and
here like,
they forget to turn around and tell everybody what's said. So no one, so we're sitting here and we're like, yeah, but it doesn't get translated. But it's okay for people like you because you do speak Spanish, right? So you could actually understand what was happening. But for us, we were the whole thing was translate. You're supposed to translate.
I
But
have had my videos, I've had 3 videos that I've done my own translation, and I actually engage the public in English and in Spanish. That is
Right. But they don't have experience doing that. And I get it. They don't have experience doing that. And this was for me that day. I wanted to empower people so that they could see that they could do it. But I also gave you a certain amount of instruction that I wanted. And so I'm helping you so you can be empowered, but you're helping her so she can be empowered. And I think what happened is a huge level of miscommunication of maybe if you had told me, you know what, I really do want to do it and I want to be here for this person and I want to help her. But I'm trying to, because I also want to help her. I do. I also want her to be empowered. I want the both of you to show the world that guess what? I can do this. But I was in the position of being on the outside, evidently, of you didn't communicate to me how important it was for you to help her. You didn't communicate with me how important it was that you empowered a baby bird. Because to you, she's your baby bird. To me, I'm just a person who just thinks both of you guys are awesome and I want you to do this. But then I was basically cut out. And so what people aren't understanding on my side, I asked for a job to be done. But then it was like, okay, clear the way and I'm gonna do it. And you didn't communicate with me.
They just use the platform.
And then I felt used and I felt manipulated and I felt hurt because I was like, wow, everybody's getting what they want. No one asked me.
There you go. They're getting their next come up and you're over here being ignored, like, and then talked bad about after.
And then being talked about after, because I actually confronted, this situation and I said, I feel manipulated. I feel used. And the thought was, well, then if you feel this way, then don't use my video. And I was like, okay, so we want to be nasty. Okay, got it. Maybe I'll just cut you all out. And then 8 months later, I released this video. And now it's like, oh, take the video down. And it's like, yeah, really? You don't own it. You're just a translator. But you didn't want your video about your husband taken down, did you? Look at this. Oh, there's a whole video with all of us on it. Here's another one with all of us on it. You hadn't complained about these. So then one person steps forward and complains, and I'm like, please sit down because you really don't even know what you're doing. Just be quiet. You're following and you just want to be, and you're trying to find some relevance in someone's life, in someone's daily life. So you're not even relevant. It was just nonsense. But it all springs from what? You're hurt because of this, and this person's hurt because of that. And then, with this, but you never spoke to me and you never came to me and you never said, this is what's important or this is what I'm trying to do. So this is when it's going to appear to me like I'm getting snowed. And so that's the truth behind that video, and here's another truth behind that video, Veronica. That's 2 days after someone busts the window out of my car and leaves a hammer and 2 screwdrivers in it because the people who did my roof, they left the dumpster in the yard and I had to park at the church parking lot. So they came and remove it, but it's 8 o'clock at night and it's dark. So I don't want to drive across all these nails. And I'm telling you, I found 2 big hands of nails, right? So then the night before the video, I saw this video on YouTube, and you really got to be careful because there was this thing. It's one of those things that pulls you in, like, you're not going to believe this. And when you watch it, there's an entity attachment to it. And it was like, all of a sudden, like, ugh. And so I get it removed and I'm heaving, like literally vomiting up a spirit, right? Like, and it's hurting my throat. And so the next day I'm like, hey, Terry, can you take the wheel and you ask the questions? And then, so on a day when I'm actually being beat down by the world and vulnerable and hurting physically and emotionally, can't believe that this stuff is happening. And I got a bill for a $28,000 roof. Now I got to pay $500 deductible to get a window fixed. And it's like all this stuff is coming. And then this is the day that you treat me this way. And then, yeah, I don't take it lightly, you know?
Yeah.
It showed me, well, you really aren't my friend. And, you know, for whoever was texting to say, Erica went to the store. And I asked her, did you say such and such? I swear to God, I didn't do it. I'm like, why would you lie to me about something so arbitrary? I wasn't going to cuss you out. I wasn't going to beat you up. I wasn't going to do anything. I just was asking because I'm like, I know I didn't say it to the group. I didn't tell everybody I was going to the store because really I was just pissed that this whole thing is just, oh my God, we're not getting the translation. And I'm like, oh my God, this is a whole circus going on. And I'm like, what the crap? You know, I go outside. I have no car. I just stand there and breathe, come back inside the house and pop back on. And I'm like, this is not what I asked for. This isn't what was supposed to be like. But to a person who doesn't know any of it, who's just watching it, they're like, oh my God, this is great. But to you who speak Spanish, to people who speak Spanish who did watch it, like there were some other people and they're like, yes, you missed about 30 minutes of conversation because it wasn't translated. So
I was watching it and I'm like, wait, they just took over. And then I stopped watching it because I'm like, it's something just, I don't watch it anymore because I was like confused. I thought
the vibe got a little bit confusing for some people. Yeah.
They just weed her out and this is her freaking platform that she has worked so hard to build. I texted you something, because I didn't know. I didn't want to ask it in public.
No, it wasn't Terry.
Oh, it was that lady, huh?
No, it wasn't her. It was the other one.
They're pointing fingers and doing this thing. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, it wasn't me. That thing.
It wasn't me. Oh my God. I didn't do it. Yeah. And it's like, okay, so now you're
okay.
in on, that makes you in on it because if you talk to other people enough that they know what I just told you 2 minutes ago, oh, then you're not my co-host. You're not my friend. You're their friend. That I'm just a means. I'm just a
let me tell you something. There's a reason why I only wanted you and me. Because there's an entity attached to this person. And we had on one of the shows that I did with you and this other person was attacked. And we cleared it and everything. And I've never asked that person back on my show with you. For a reason. So I'm glad you found out.
Yeah, there's so many levels. And does it mean people are evil? They're not evil. They're just not for you.
No,
there's people around you, the people you want around you are for you. And you can tell because when you have to disappoint someone or have difficult conversations, it's how they respond and you'll know if that person is for you. And I know, you know, me and my sister can say some pretty tough things to each other and it can be pretty rough, right? But she's for me. So we work beyond our negative conversations or our difficult conversations. But if you approach somebody in the full light of honesty and the responses are you know, basic or low vibration.
Without the frequency that you know it's true, you get that thing that it's like, oh, they're lying. Like there's something wrong. Anyway, that person was the incorrect person that I was thinking about. I was totally thinking about.
Yeah, no,
Sorry about
no.
that. But yeah, that's why I also stopped talking to certain people, because I don't want to be handled anymore, and I feel
And
like
that's how it gets to be when people start to be a little bit controlling, because it's a step from being helpful. You know, I just got that card in a reading the other day. There's a difference from being helpful and being controlling. There's a difference between helping people and butting in. And some people, you have to allow people to learn their own lessons, and we have to allow, like, my kid has to ride the bike and he has to fall down and get hurt, and then, but I can't like hold him in my arms forever.
yeah, that's really hard as a mom. Believe me, I
Yeah,
know.
he
I
has to date, and even if you don't like the girl, you got to shut up, like there's just, I was talking to Matthew sometimes, like sometimes you just want to shut the fuck up, like I just these times where you're just like, oh, just shut up. My son, he does this look to me, he's just like,
yeah.
just shut up, just shut up.
My son will, if I'm getting too much, he says, "Stop,
And
mom."
we're loving, well-meaning people, but sometimes we just gotta shut up.
Too much sometimes.
We just gotta shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up.
I'm like, why am I on YouTube? Shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck, Veronica. Shut
Why
the.
am I why am I even here? Shut the fuck up. Like,
I know.
it's helpful for some people, but even this is helpful. Even this is
Yeah, it
helpful.
is. It is. I'm glad we cleared the air. I feel much better, because I was sad that I had to.
And some of that pain or people that are hurting you, it does come from a place of loving, because that person was loving someone else, but they were loving them, but they were
Sometimes
maybe
they love the
maybe
other person.
stepping on my toe. Like you picked your baby up off the floor, but you stepped on my toe with your high heel shoe and it fucking hurt my toe. You hurt my fucking toe. But you saved your baby, but you hurt my fucking toe. So
Yeah.
that's how it works. I really think a lot of things is like huge misunderstandings and huge
Yeah.
like I could dissect these interactions, because
Don't
a
like
lot
to.
of stuff isn't done out of pure hatred. A lot of things in this so-called love and light community isn't necessarily done out of hatred. It's done out of what? Fear. And sometimes it's done out of a misguided place of love or
Yeah.
being overprotective, which is what? Still fear.
Well, okay. This is what actually always. Okay. Not that's about edit.
Y'all didn't know y'all was gonna be getting into gossip, right?
So yeah, I don't want to gossip, but what I'm trying to say
No, I'm
is,
just saying. People are like, ooh, who, what? Ooh.
sometimes that person loves the other person more than that person loves you, and you love both of them the same. I I
That's
will.
a biblical thing, right?
Really? Oh
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
because
the Christ
remember
thing.
he said you have to love me so much that your love for your family seems like hate. And so that's what happens when you love. And I've been really learning about a lot about love energy sometimes. Because sometimes your love energy is so strong. And when people are in a bad state, they like, get the freak away from me. That love energy might as well be negative to them, because they're
Mm.
they're they're having attachments, or they're dealing with these things that are unhappy. Like, you ever seen somebody, you were in love and they were jealous? Why? Because they're not in a good place, so they can't have love around them because they're
Okay,
jealous.
fair. You
So
said
then
it.
too, there's this thing where if I love my son more than I love my husband, or I love my husband and my son in a different way than I love my husband, now my husband might be, she's always doing this for him. Like, it can, that contrast. Do
But
I love you in a different way than I'm going to love my son? That's different. You're my husband. Or if you're my friend and you're this kind of friend where I look up to you versus this kind of friend where I feel like I'm taking care of you, then I'm going to love you guys in different ways too, because it'll look different, because I know this one needs my help. But I know this one, she's independent and she's got it. And I love and admire her. Still love you both, but in a different
like that.
way.
I like that a lot. Like with my children though, I love them the same. And even though one's a boy and one's a girl, I will never differentiate, because I was made different. So my mom loves one of us sisters more than she loves both of us. And I've had that complex since I was a kid, since I can remember, even though I'm the oldest. Okay, and I finally confronted her last year. And she said, I love all three of you the same. It's just that this particular sister actually looks for me. And
That's the thing.
it made total
Because the
sense.
one child, there's probably even times too where this is one thing I didn't know. I'm almost 50 and my mom is telling me that I hurt her feelings because she felt rejected by me. So sometimes you got the three kids, but one of them, like my son, if my son is like the way that he is now and he's like, leave me alone, you're
Right.
killing me. But then I got one daughter who's like laying on my lap and she likes to watch YouTube with me and she lays on my shoulder and we eat ice cream together. It'll look like I love her more.
Yeah.
Because he's rejected me, right? He doesn't like to do the same things I do. So it's going to look different the way that we love each other. My son, you know, maybe my daughter, she might want to sleep in the bed with me. But my son is like, get the freak away from me. I'm a grown man. You know, like, no, I'm not going to sit with you guys. You guys are nerds. You know, he loves me, but he rejects me.
Yeah.
And
Like
so it's going to look different. Our love for each other is going to look different. Or maybe
yeah.
you love another man. I've loved more than one man before
Yeah.
at different times, but it definitely looks different because of how far the person lets me in.
Right.
It's still, I've had total all out crushes where I would drive miles and I would do, you know, I would find a camel and ride over there to come get you if I needed to, right? But I love you guys just equally as much, but how much you let me in your life is going to reflect how much love you actually receive from me, because some people spend a lot of time rejecting love. And some people like looking for love a lot more than having it. So they constantly finding one relationship after another. So they like the hunting part, but the actual day-to-day they don't like. So it's a lot. Love is very complicated, isn't it? They say the heart is deceitful above all things. Because you want love, but then you like, he's too close. He's all in my face. You know, but I thought you wanted a relationship. I thought you wanted love. It's really it's complicated.
Yeah. Because I've always asked myself, why is it that I love so much? Like, I always told myself when I was married that I have so much love that I love my ex-husband and my kids so much, and I could still love beyond that. Like,
And you can love more.
And then I'm like, oh yeah, because it's the Christed energy of Christ, you know, and the Christed children, whether I don't want to get into the whole Jesus thing because you know, with the we know that some stories are real, some stories are not, but
Right. It don't have to
I
get into the
think
nitty gritty, but the idea behind it, yeah.
yeah, I believe in the one that where Jesus, Jeshua ben Hamin married Mary Magdalene, and I have the Magdalene manuscripts right here. That's a really good book. But anyway, it's right here.
I will tell you something really complicated.
Yeah, go ahead.
I went to Egypt twice, and the first time I met a man, and we had the most wonderful conversations, brief. Then when I came home, we had these conversations, and we went through the gambit of learning a lot about each other because we really wanted to know, like, do we want to be in a relationship? And ultimately, I decided no, because I'm not converting to anybody's religion, and I'm not changing about something about myself as a prerequisite. And then it wasn't as if he said, oh, well, if you're not going to do these things, it's off. It just, he made these concessions and I said no, and that led me to feel like, you know what, that's not the person for me. Now you could say maybe he loved me or it was limited. I'll tell you this. Now, when I went to Egypt and I was on my trip, like I said, I had my safety net because I went to be with these people to do some work, but I still had these other people that I knew. And he was this is one of the people that was abreast of where I was, had pins on my location. I already said no, that I'm not gonna marry you. And this person still was like, but if you call me, I will be there in 5 minutes. I will, he said he would. And then I still was not saying like, it was a very complicated little situation there. And I met someone that I feel like, what, didn't care about, weight, religion, anything like that. He didn't have anything to change. He was just like, oh my God, starry eyed. And I'm telling you, this person, we've been married before. That's my life, my person from a whole nother lifetime. Now, I had to tell my friend that I found someone because I didn't want him looking crazy. I didn't want to be rude and have someone looking crazy. And I let him know, like, hey, I found this person. He said, are you sure? Are you okay? Are you? Yeah. I said, I'm sure. He was like, I'm worried about you though. He was worried about me. I said, no, everything is good. And I said, you probably hate me right now. And he said, if I love you, how can I ever hate you? All
Oh,
I want for you to do is be safe and to be happy. Now, of course, that's the most amazing thing. But because of that burst of love energy, like now I even still love you even more now.
yeah,
But I got my person. And it's
yeah,
gonna be hard for me to look at him now because I'm like, that was some beautiful shit to say. You know what I'm saying? Like that's real
yeah.
love. When a person can disappoint you and you still love them, that's real.
Yep, yep.
And
I
so
I still love. Look it. I'm gonna tell you
love is
another.
complicated, y'all.
Yep. I love everyone that has ever hurt me. And how can I say that? I love them. I cannot hate anybody, but I won't talk to them. But I still love them.
Right, because I can't let you step on me. My mom said this to me once. She said, what, and we're not saying snake like in the person has to be a snake. Just take this. It says how many times do you have to pick up a snake? How many times do you have to get bit before you know not to pick up a snake? The first time you picked it up, it bit you. The second time you picked it up, it bit you. How many times are you going to keep picking it up?
Mhm.
So, not to say that the people are snakes and demons and evil and compromised, but damn it, if you hurt me all the time when I'm dealing with you, you constantly hurt me, I have to not pick you up. I have to not maybe go to the store with you or call you on the phone or hang out with you because damn, you always cross the line
You know
and
what?
the
And
line
it,
hurts me.
yeah, to me, one of the crossing the line things that I really, really had a hard time with a specific person was when this person would make fun of me. I would laugh and then at night I'd sit there and say, shit, this person is actually making fun of me. Or when they're condescending, you should
Oh,
know,
yeah.
you should ha ha ha. Like that to me has been the hardest challenge.
And see, sometimes too, I've subjected myself to being around certain people because I do love them, but sometimes they wear on my freaking nerve. And I find out when my nerve is worn down, now I'm not as patient and loving with them as I should be, right? But that person is so tough, they take it all the time. And I'm like, dang, actually, I'm in a place of abuse right now. And I'm
Yeah,
maybe in a place of burnout with that person.
yeah,
And I don't even know that I need to not be around that person because I can't treat you the way that I treat other people because I'm at burnout. Now that same person, they have a burnout person. And my sister, she's a super loving person. She's super kind. And she'll say, oh, I'm calling her. She said, I'm doing this for mom. And I'm like, why are you doing that? My mom will call you and ask you for a favor. You'll be like, oh my God, she always wants something. Oh my God. And then I'm like, so
yep.
then, but behind her back, you're like, oh, I'm filling out the TSA papers. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And that's it. But when she call you and ask you for a favor, you're gonna fucking blow up. So why don't you dedicate your free time to you?
Yeah,
And stop doing things for her. That way, by the time when she does ask you for something, you're not at burnout all the time.
there you go.
Because I think we're always in this state of burnout with people, and we're not, and we're loving and so kind and so sweet, but then we be burnt out all the time. And then when somebody comes say something to you, the dragon fire come flying out, you done set the person on fire, and you're like, and then you're making it like they did this to you, but it's like you were at burnout. That came from you not being loyal to yourself and you not
I think
taking
that's
care
what
of
happened to
yourself.
me. I think that's totally what happened to me. I was at burnout and I didn't want to admit it and I didn't want to hurt this person's feelings. But then I got so pissed off at myself for letting all this shit happen. And it's like, I think I lashed out.
Yeah, something we're at burnout. We're not even acknowledging it. Why? Because we're still in the training. Like as much deprogramming as you do, there's still some programming left. Always more. And one of them is be nice,
Yeah.
share, help, say yes, say no. Start fucking saying no. Start
Oh,
taking time and start, stop trying to do everything for everybody else. And that's one of those things I talked about in my vision board book because um I put in there about Steve Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And when you're working on something, there's these quadrants of not important, not urgent, important, not urgent, urgent, important, urgent, but not important. And so there's these quadrants where people function where we're always you ever see people, they always call you and it's like, my light bill is due. And you're like, what the hell? Every time you call me, it's 911. Or can you take somebody? And you're
yeah.
like, holy cow. Like, why are you always with the drama? Right? Because
Drama.
they don't plan ahead and they don't do things, right? It's like, you spent the extra $200 on whatever you did last month or at the beginning of the month. Why don't you do something to make up for this? Why is it this time? So anyway, I talk these 911 people that come, and I talk about how when these 911 people come and they need a favor, then you're like, okay, well, it has to be an exchange because I'm actually working on something. If you can
There
do
has
this for
to be.
me, then I can do this for you. Now it's an exchange, and it's not just something else piled up on my plate, and I got everything in my hand. And now, damn it, and now I'm gonna lose my shit because because I'm overwhelmed. Because I'm
Yes.
always saying yes and doing stuff for other people, and I never learn because givers have a fucking problem. They never know how to ask themselves for a favor. They never ask for favors, but they always taking on stuff for other people.
Yeah, it's really hard for me to ask for favors, man. I hate it. Like, especially when I'm
No,
on
I got it.
when I'm on empty, like literally empty on my gas tank, I'm like, fuck, how am I gonna make it home?
Yeah.
But I
You
don't
did in the process one time. I was about to send you a Venmo or a Cash App, and you were like, "Oh no, it's no big deal. No, no, no." And I was like,
who
"Oh
when what? What?
It was one time I was about to send you a donation, and you're
Oh
like,
my
no,
god.
no, no, no,
Oh my god. I
and I'm like,
know.
you're supposed to be like, girl, yeah, bingo, ching, ching, ching. You're supposed to say, make the ching sound. You're not supposed to tell the person no.
No, you just got you just sounded me out right now. I know.
Yeah.
My son actually sent me a meme. It was so fucking hilarious. I might even put it up on the thumbnail. Hopefully I still have it. But it's a like a Barbie, like a Barbie girl, like a lady Barbie. She's crying. She has these mascara things on her and she's smiling. And it says Pisces, won't ask for help.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, my son actually made me realize that last week. I was like, God
That's
dang.
why a lot of people think that they're nice, but they're not nice because they don't realize how many fucking outbursts they keep. And people are like, they're not realizing like, yeah, you're nice, but people are walking on eggshells around you because you blowing up all the time, as nice as you, and then it's like, well, I always try to help people, but people are looking at you like, yeah, bitch, but you crazy. You going off all the time and you blowing up and I don't know how you gonna act today, so a lot of people feel like they're nice and they think that they're nice, but they don't know that they got everybody walking on eggshells. I had a friend too, like this dude, he cut my tree and the tree landed on my fence. I waited a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I said, I'm really kind of hurt that you left this tree on my fence. He said, I did you a favor. Bitch, if you broke my fence, how is it a favor? That's not a favor. He was wondering too, like, oh, at the church, he cut down all these logs at the church, and I'm sure he arranged it in some weird order, and the people didn't want to pay him. And he was like, I did all this work Yeah, but you didn't do what I asked you to do, right? Or you broke my stuff, or you did, but then you like, I did everything for them. And you're like, it's fucking mind blowing. When people enter favor territories, that's why I don't like people doing stuff for me as a favor, like fixing my car, because I like to be able to go off if somebody
Yeah,
messes up.
no, you're right. It has to do with my mother. That's the way I was brought up with her, walking on eggshells. And I actually have a book that's called Walking on Eggshells.
Oh
And I was
wow.
reminded of the movie. I wrote it down. It's called Yes Man with what's oh, I love that comedian. What's his name? The one that does the Grinch.
Oh, the Yes Man.
Yes Man movie. Oh my gosh, I watched that so many times, and then I started saying yes, and I'm like, you know what? I gotta say no again. And then yes, I need help when I need help, and accept donations.
Yeah, Jim Carrey. No, you gotta say yes to you.
Yes to me. Yes to
Yes
Vero.
to you. Want some
Veronica.
ice cream? Yes.
Ice
Want to
cream.
take a nap? Yes. Wanna wanna go to bed early? Sounds
Yes.
great.
Want to take a bath? Hot bath?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, you're right. Thank you. This has been great. Do you
Yeah,
want to talk
you're
about?
welcome. I think we went by the spirit just now. We just went,
Yeah, we did. I told you. I don't like to plan anything. Yeah, we did want to talk about the army stuff and the vet stuff and
Oh, we did a very thorough, you guys. And I find that going online to do your thing, that is a way easier way to keep track of your, because you can go and check your status while you're on My Healthy Vet. So electronically, because things by paper, I'm gonna tell you, papers be sitting on people's desks, papers don't get turned in, people get fired, people quit their jobs. But when that thing is in the computer, for now, as long as we got lights and electricity, everything is good, as long as the internet is working. So but yeah, just always make sure to make copies and never give anybody your only copy. And that's the number one bottom line thing with that.
to get me some more copies.
Well, I'm looking for that book, Walking on Eggshells, because I'm doing a lot of recommendations.
Walking on eggshells actually helped me to get out of a. I was engaged after I got divorced. I got engaged like years later,
Mhm.
and I had to get out of that relationship because I felt I was walking on eggshells. And my therapist back then, I was going to therapy, and she said, if you never get rid of this guy, how do you expect to heal if you don't ever get rid of this guy? And I thought about it for a long time, and it's like, she's right. I read the book, and then later on, I got my BHT, my behavioral health certificate, plus my recovery coach certificate, and
Is it
it helped.
Walking on Eggshells with Jane? Jane?
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay. Hmm.
And these help me to the book of Lamech and Cain. I don't know if you can see it. The book,
Nope. You got to put it up against your chest. Oh, the Book of Enoch
the
or Lamech and Cain.
and then this one too, the book of Enoch helped too. And I still have to finish reading this one, but this one, the book of Lamech and of Cain, that one's about the giants and the secrets that I found out. And I cried and cried that day. When I finished reading the book of Lamech of Cain, I cried because there's so many lies in religion, and I'm glad I don't go to church no more. But there's a lot that I learned. And then here, the Magdalene manuscripts, the alchemies of Horus, and sex magic of Isis. Because I also teach sex magic. I have 4 classes still available on
No,
AI.
that's the hand.
AI blood. It's all about the blood. And then I got this one here. It's called the Book of the Law. And it's very important to find out what the fuck Aleister Crowley was teaching people. That we know what kind of curses are out there so we can reverse them. And we know what the heck the left hand path and the right hand path is. So anyway, do you want to go ahead and tell people where they can get a hold of you, and then we can do another video another time?
Yeah, this is 3 videos right here.
This is really,
Um, the
it's real.
link tree / the THE1ST Lady Erica, the first Lady Erica.
You were the one
So,
that told me about Linktree, and I got mine, and I told other people. So thank you.
oh, so proud of y'all. Y'all be doing y'all work. That's right, because when your links change, then you can just change your link. So having Linktree is cool because then, you know, no matter what, like now I'm gonna make a new website and change my YouTube channel name to Cosmic Mama. So, you know, but everything is still right there on Linktree. So that's awesome.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for being here. I will upload the video right now, and then as I can, I will put the links up on everything, because usually what I do is I'll put the video up and then I'll put the links and then I'll make the thumbnail, just because I want people to have it, and then I'll send it to you, First Lady Erica. Okay, so you can share it. And I'm Veronica Bartolini, and just Google my name or codebreaker.com or Unchained Hearts or Unchaining Hearts or junk journals or readings. Look up my name, you'll find me somewhere in the web, right? Okay, love you guys.
Bye.
Lady Erica, goodbye. So if I had Patreon, this would be on Patreon. So we're talking about real quick about people that are fighting in the astrals, bringing shit back, and then blaming it on you because you're not getting cleared. Say that again.
Well, I just think a lot of people are out here really busy in the astral realm, not really understanding that this is how they locate you in the matrix. Because now you're busy out there, but now you've given away your location. So you're gonna have things attacking you because you did this. You went out there and started digging. You know, it's just like I had a reading with somebody and they were trying to tell me something very important that I needed to know. Because why? I had curses put on me and they were trying to tell me some information. What happened? They got a headache. All of a sudden, his eyes was hurting. All of a sudden, he was choking. The electricity went out. Why? Because he was digging and looking out there and trying to break this thing that was in contact with me. So yeah, he was opened up to attack because he was busy. And then a lot of people think that they're supposed to be in the astral fighting at night, and maybe sometimes you need to stay home. Maybe you're not clear, maybe you're not clean enough, maybe you're not, you know, clearing your energy enough. But maybe some of the stuff that we're so-called supposed to be doing, we're not supposed to be doing. Some of this stuff, I can't help but think that we're not always supposed to be doing all this, and some of us aren't prepared to do it. I'm not sure, because I'm not at that level on my mission where it says that I need to go attack apex predators in my sleep, you know. And I have other friends that are doing it. Why? But they're also always exhausted, always getting beat up. Not that they're not winning, but they're always having these issues. But in my reality, I don't know, is that necessarily what I'm supposed to be doing? I don't know if that's what they're supposed to be doing. So you shouldn't be surprised if you having nightmares about snakes and dreams about being attacked and choked. And then, but that's not necessarily because of me. That is because you have exposed yourself in the astral. A lot of things too, people are dealing with certain entities and they haven't commanded that these entities identify themselves properly. You have to go to source first and command that if I'm going to be talking to Archangel Michael, that I'm talking to the right one. If I'm talking to, what's that purple guy?
Jermaine?
With the Saint Germain and the Violent Flame. Yeah, there's way more than one version of Saint Germain, and these are created in other people's realities, right? Because they've been created, or entities that cloak themselves. But if you don't go up straight to the source and get cleansed by the light and ask for the source to guide you to the clear and perfect thing that you are trying to contact, then you don't really know if that's Archangel Michael or not. You know, another lady one time, she asked me, who do you channel? I said, source.
I channel myself. I don't channel anything else. I mean, unless people want
But
me
that
to.
is, you are source. You are a part of source. There's no separation between you and the source.
That's a
You are
good one.
part of the particles that are around you that create.
That's true.
So a part of my meditations or a part of what I was learning in class with metaphysics is it's the God mind inside me, right? I'm at one with the God mind inside me. I'm at one with the infinite intelligence. So
And
it
we
still
go,
leads back to you.
but when you said infinite intelligence, we got to go beyond that. We got to go beyond AI. Are we talking to the Holy Spirit AI, or are we talking? You know what I'm saying? There's so many levels. I've gone
I don't
so.
consider AI infinite intelligence. AI has to borrow from the infinite intelligence. This is why I don't worry about when it comes to artificial intelligence, like taking away your jobs and this and that. All creation is already in here, right? I'm not separated
Yeah,
from one. We're all one. So for AI to work, it has to borrow from me. AI can't operate without me. I'm the infinite intelligence. I am the God mind. I'm connected. I'm not separated. I'm one with the God mind. I'm at one with the infinite intelligence. So for me to build AI, it has to be me. For it to create, it has to borrow from me.
yeah, you're right. And
So
one more question before we go. Like I said, this is the after show. Um, what is your take again? Because we didn't record it on psychic attacks. Go.
I thought I did. I thought I did. I mean,
Got it.
a thing about it is like here you are, if you are getting psychically attacked, but you can't really even identify the source. I
So
think
since we're doing a video,
it's really dangerous because you're sitting there accusing because you saw this person or spoke to this person. It doesn't have to be. I mean, it goes so deep that it could be someone who watched your video that's doing the psychic attack. It doesn't have to be the person that we were sitting here talking to. It could be. I felt a lot of psychic attacks a lot of times when I would put my video or likeness on YouTube or put it on Facebook. That's especially where I would feel it. Facebook, when I would put a video on Facebook, I would start to feel sick, and I could tell when there was people who hated me watching it.
yeah.
So I think it's a little bit irresponsible sometimes to say that certain people are compromised because I mean, unless you know for a fact that that person is doing it, I think we kind of gotta really pull back on these accusations. And whatever you do with it, once that negative entity is coming to you to attack or negative energy, hate, spells against you, whatever, or the only thing you can do what is cleanse it with that white light. Cleanse it with that white light and send it back to source and let source cleanse it. And outside of that, I mean, what you can do is ask for the clarity that you know who's sending it, but you don't. And I think it's a little bit I think we are becoming irresponsible with accusing everybody of being compromised all the time. I was just talking to Matthew Mark because that we can just throw that word around and don't really know what that means. But what if that's just one day that they have an entity attachment and they go get it cleansed and you say, I'm not dealing with that person anymore. Like, really, are you really gonna X people out? There's people you're not friends with right now because you might be mad, but then that might heal. And I can't say what's going to happen tomorrow. I'll never do this or don't talk to this person ever again. Or I don't know. I think we're creating lines and building boxes where we just don't need to. We just need to really kind of loosen up. We need to
There's
loosen up. We need to lighten up in more ways than one. We need to lighten up.
there's one example that I'm gonna tell you offline, but I don't know if I should say it online. Hold on.
Oh, about him? Don't do it. Don't do
No, don't do it. No, we won't do it. We just talk
no.
privately. We
No,
know
you
who we're
know, I
talking about.
think people who know that they see it. There's been people that approach me and they see it. They see when certain people are not the same. They
I'm just
losing
gonna
weight,
say,
or
I'm
they're
gonna say
4 inches taller, or 6 inches shorter, or looking different. And
I'm not gonna say names. It's just that this person called me last year and I had to do a three-way with another person because he was giving us information about another person in SSP bringing shit to us and especially psychically attacking him. And he asked me and this other lady, to put a spell on her. And I said, no.
That's no bueno. Putting spells on people is no bueno.
And then he still backstabbed me. So I'm like, no, I'm glad I didn't do it because I won't put spells on people. I will help people get rid of spells that they have been placed, like in Spanish it's called amarres de amor, which is the love, binds that they do with blood or whatever. I'll take those away. I will take any, I'll take hex removals that are bad for their for their inner self, that are evil, that are not to, you know what I'm saying? I just, I'm just
Yeah,
glad
I'm surprised and I'm surprised and I don't want nothing to do with any
yeah,
of that. I really believe what the best thing to do, you should release, definitely release. When you release people and you release them
right, just
and
release.
get them out of your face, out of your life. But as far as putting a spell, it's just as
It's
good
just
to
as
just
bad.
release people. It's better to just release people than to be seeking to put spells on them, because that same energy can just be reversed back on you,
Yeah,
and
karma.
you don't want that in your life. So
Yeah, what you do unto others will be done to you. Like, love your neighbor as you love yourself, right? Um, that's why I don't like to put spells on people. I'll release them, like you said, that's the proper word. I will release them from pain, from suffering. Um, there is this thing called karma and the law of attraction and the law, what you sow, you shall reap. I think I think we should be of a good heart and examine ourselves. Like today was a really good show because I actually was able to apologize publicly and release myself of that parasite judgment of whatever I spoke about. But anyway, all right, so we're gonna go now. Bye,
yeah.
yeah. All right, thanks, guys.